think the biggest shocker was, hang on, your franchise and Frazier tied for the most game of the weeks.
Wait, who? You're like cut up for a sec.
Your team, like not necessarily always you, but your franchise and Frazier.
Okay.
Which I found surprising.
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
Like him and Judy won game of the week both times they played in 2014.
Unreal.
And then Dan and Frazier's the other tied for first.
Okay. Huh. One sec. I gotta switch Wi-Fi's quick. I don't know if it's gonna kick. Okay.
Oh man. I feel like I already forgot about last week. Oh yeah, Tim. Tim did a thing.
Yep.
Carter's 4-1.
Yep.
Well, I got one more piece of sushi. Now we can jump in if you want.
Okay.
How's your day?
Good. Just had 2 classes, no homework for the weekend. Just gonna play COD and watch the Brewers.
Oh, baby. I'm pretty sure I'm going to buy COD right now.
You better. It's downloading for me right now.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do digital download.
It's the way to go. I was going to come home, but I have to work another volleyball game on Saturday, which is stupid.
What the hell?
Yeah, they really conned me.
Do I want something to drink? Yeah, hang on.
Okay.
Oh my God. Hey, you know what they say? There's nothing like a warm Gatorade.
Oh, yeah. That's a classic.
It's actually 96 degrees in my apartment.
What?
Like I walked in the front door and just like the main space is like boiling.
Is it like warm outside or?
No, they have the heat cranked so high here that I don't even know what's happening.
Oh my God, I was going to say.
My room, like I have to open the window and it's like 45 degrees outside.
Yeah, that's insane.
Blah, 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 blah. Oh, I can't wait to smoke some fools with you guys on this game.
It'll be interesting. I didn't like the beta was okay. I didn't really like it that much. But maybe Blackout would be good too.
I mean, I'm still pretty convinced that I'm only going to play Blackout, but Tog raised a good point yesterday in saying that, like, I don't know what it's going to be like when I can't build. Like, not that I was ever, like, good at building, but it's just, like,
I feel like it's building.
I feel like it's going to slow it down so much.
It will.
Which might be a good thing, but it'll be different for sure.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
I don't have offense and defense scores, but I don't really care.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't really know what all happened last week.
Dude, I feel like I just kind of blacked out last weekend.
Yeah.
Fucking drive home and that whole day, and my team was ass.
Same.
Let's get this pulled up. All right. Let's do this shite.
Okay.
Welcome, everybody, to the Week 5 Web.com podcast 2018. I am being joined by Caleb.
Hello.
Caleb is in the co-host seat this week because obviously Brock is a little bit preoccupied.
Got a question. Question the dedication there, you know.
Yeah, you know, I really expected him to make a on-location appearance from Boston, but you know, maybe even get a feature from Kate. Just
oh, we could have gotten Kate on the podcast. Dang. First podcast for the married couple. Have that on our list of achievements as a podcast.
You know, it's just really a missed opportunity. I think Brock's gonna have to take a look in the mirror after this. Low key, Brock is no longer Brock in the Web.com spreadsheets. That's just kind of a little side note.
Whoa.
He's officially Frazier in the spreadsheet. Wow. So
that's a big, long time coming.
Have made the transition.
Yep.
All right. So obviously Week 5 is a pretty big deal every year in Web. We get into conference play, and we have some teams really looking to establish themselves in the conference. And this week we had some really, really nice games to open it up and some crazy results, some crazy things happening. Let's jump right into it.
Okay.
So our game of the week this week was me and Parker, right? Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So Parker and Mingo also have game of the week stats now. So if you guys ever want to know how many times Kelvin and Frazier have won game of the week, well, I can tell you they have won at one time.
That's
how's that?
It's a great stat. It's honestly, I don't know how many times I've been game of the week since taking over, but I don't know. Can you even find that?
Since taking over, I'd have to go back and look. I just have the franchise totals.
Yeah.
Your franchise has won it 10 times.
That's insane.
Frazier's leading the way with 23.
Okay, never mind. It's not insane. That's insane. 23 game of the weeks.
Yep. Frazier's got 23. Dan's got 21.
Well, I feel like Frazier, Dan, and the Brock Bowl. That's like and Tim. Like, oh yeah, that's seems like it's him. Like every week if he has a big game, it's gonna be him.
Yeah, he's a part of the top 3 games like that have won it. But me and Parker, this is our fourth time winning it, so we're up there too. Always a good game in the Big 5, and we open it this week. It was coming off the double 200-point games. I was looking pretty impressive. Parker obviously trying to kind of reestablish himself as a Big 5 contender after the down year last year, coming off of 2 wins going into this week. And in the end, it was Parker. 164.3 was enough to do it this week. And DeAndre Hopkins was unbelievable, as was Devontae Adams, even in a shit show of a game. Yeah. And so those receivers that we've been talking about all season coming through for him this week. Also David Johnson, 19 points.
Yeah, is David Johnson back? It seems like they're still not using him quite as much, but like they're a bad team, so it's tough to script them in there at running back. But
And honestly,
Yeah.
it seems like forever ago that he was shopping him. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted to like make an offer again because personally I had talked to him about it, as I'm sure many other people did, and I feel like it's just like ages ago. Like
Yeah.
nothing I could offer is good enough anymore. It's back to that.
Yeah.
So
He's pretty much he needs David Johnson basically. With Derrick Henry has just not done anything yet. We were talking. I guess it was 2 firsts he gave up for Derrick Henry, which I didn't realize, and that's quite a bit for. Like at the time, it was like, okay, yeah, Derrick Henry's probably DeMarco Murray's gone. He's probably gonna have a big year, and it's just not working at all right now. And he was really hoping to get that production from that running back 2 spot from him.
yeah, and honestly, I like the 2 firsts was at the time I thought it was a pretty good trade for both sides.
Yeah.
Obviously, in hindsight, kind of expected Derrick Henry to do a little bit more than he has now, but I still think that offense is kind of figuring it out, working through some things. So definitely not over for him yet.
No.
But
yeah, it's otherwise. I don't know. He still had a really good week. Like the defense, Trey Boston 14, Byron Jones, like solid week there. Didn't get much from the kicker, but it didn't really matter. And I think Matt Breida's out for a few weeks. Alfred Morris is probably going to be the guy there in San Francisco. So, man, if we could get Alfred Morris of old on Parker's team, he would really love that.
Yeah. I've been saying, I said this in the preseason, and I feel like I say it every single week. I feel like Parker is kind of back to his old form, and this season obviously has shown that. He's 4-1 now. Opens up the Big Five play with a statement victory over last season's conference champ and a team that was coming off of the back-to-back performances, week highs. So I think definitely we're seeing the Parker that, was 11-3 and 12-2 and kind of running the league in 2015 and 2016. But yeah, definitely some spots though where there's going to be some question marks going forward. He's been able to kind of not have that be a problem yet.
No, yeah, he's been able to patch things together with those receivers and David Johnson, but even still, just having to start Benjamin Watson week in, week out is not what you want.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe that makes his average of 160.9, which is currently 4th in the league in scoring, look even more impressive.
Yeah,
so,
when you've got guys like Derrick Henry and him who are like averaging 5 points a game or less, it's like, okay, and he's still putting up those numbers. That's showing that those guys they can definitely carry it. And the defense.
Yeah, he has built a defense that is obviously the best in Webb. I mean, if the last 2 years are what we're going off of, he's the best defense in Webb. Khalil Mack is obviously a force. Didn't even play in this week and still had a good defensive output.
Mm-hmm.
So flip side of this game then was a disappointing week for me. Coming off of what I kind of referred to as like a perfect storm. I had some injuries and I had some production out of guys that maybe I didn't expect it out of, and it just kind of culminated into these huge weeks. And again, this week I had a little bit of some injury problems, and I think that honestly could be a theme of the season for me. With Fournette and Cook just figuring things, especially Fournette. I mean, this seems like
he was already ruled out how long ago, like for this week's game.
Yeah.
Dalvin is at least hopeful.
I'm thinking this Fournette thing is going to linger all year, and so I need Cook to come back and be back for good. But yeah, I mean, I still, I had Aaron Jones in there, which I felt kind of comfortable with, and on a side note, as a Packer fan and not a fantasy fantasy football player. Aaron Jones' usage is unbelievably awful.
Yeah, didn't get a carry in the second half. I didn't really watch the game, but I mean, he still played he had 7 for 40, and it's like at some point, are they gonna give him the ball? Like it's unbelievable. Like how we're still doing this rotation. Like
Yeah.
I like Jamal for the pass blocking. Like Jones, I think has improved his pass blocking too. Montgomery, I wouldn't have minded just throwing him out in the slot or something. Like
Yeah.
Montgomery at this point, I don't care about at all. I just want it to be a Jamal and Aaron.
Yeah, and I think that the first half, I mean, he had some really nice runs. He had 40 yards rushing in the first half, and I mean, to not have him out there at all in the second half.
Yeah, I don't know why Mike McCarthy hates him. Is it because of the drugs? I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. You put your best players out there and give you the best chance to win the game, and they're just not doing it. It makes no sense. But yeah, that's kind of disappointing for that. I mean, obviously, looking forward, maybe it'll improve his going. But outside of that, the receivers, no one scored more than 10, so it was sort of a down week for them. Travis Kelce still had a good week, but the offense just didn't really, and the defense, no one hit double digits. So it was just altogether just a disappointing week after back-to-back 200-point games.
Yeah, and I mean, I obviously acquired Aaron Jones for depth, and I'm now starting him in week 5. So
yeah,
that's not going to be a thing all season. Like you said, the defense just very inconsistent this season. I feel like it's, I've been up as high as 80 so far, 85 and 80 in the last 2 weeks, 47 in week 1, and I don't have the numbers from this week, but I imagine it's somewhere around that same range.
Yeah.
So the Luke Kuechly acquisition was something that I wanted to kind of stabilize the linebacker core, and even there it was, his lowest tackle output in 3 years.
That's weird. He had 3 tackles. I didn't see what happened. Like that game almost went to overtime, but how did he only get 3 tackles in that shootout? Huh?
Yeah, lowest tackle output in the last 2 seasons. Luke Kuechly's debut. That's great. But yeah, it's kind of just one of those things like week 1 was for me, where I had the week low, and I wasn't getting production out of any spots.
Yeah, so it either comes all there's no happy medium for it. Either you're going all for it 200 or you're scoring 130. So that's a dangerous game to play, but if it strikes at the right time, it'll be fine.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens next week, but definitely a dangerous way to play. Or you have a guy like Parker who's just been at 160 pretty much every single week.
Yeah.
Like Parker's highest point total is only 171, but he's never been below 150. So
yeah, I'll take that every week.
Yeah. So 3-2 for me, 4-1 for Parker. Parker tied atop of the Big 5 right now with a certain team that nobody expected to be tied with Parker at the week 6 marker. Carter.
Unbelievable.
So in our upset of the week, Carter taking on Dan, going into Monday night with Elvin Kamara and Adrian Peterson. All they needed to do was have decent games, and he wins. And neither of that.
No, that is a tough way to go out. Mark Ingram coming back and just completely stealing the show from Kamara has a lot of people pissed off. So that's not great. I don't know, Marshawn, like the whole offense, again, it's sort of like you. It was AJ Green had 11, but no one else eclipsed 10. It was really the defense that even kept them in the game. I mean, my God, there are points everywhere down there. 11, 21, 14, 10, 17, like insane. But in the end, it was Carter. I mean, even Robbie Gold had -1, so that's even if you get a decent game out of Gold, he might win it. But I don't know, it just didn't work out.
Newly acquired Buda Baker, 21-pointer.
Wow, yeah. Shoot, yeah, that's he's eligible at corner now? That's a game changer. Wow.
That's big.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I was wondering.
I'm having some serious issues at corner this season.
It's so tough, man.
It's bad. Like normally I can get a guy by about week 4 that I'm like I can get 5 tackles out of you every week. Like I haven't had more than 4 out of my corner yet. Three or 4.
It's such a significant advantage then for him to have Buddha there at corner. Like he had 16 tackles last week with a sack.
Yeah.
Like to get that out of your corner, like if you even get 10 tackles out of your corner,
oh
my God, what a
That's
week.
A huge week, yeah.
He got 16. He's eclipsed 10 3 times. It's like that's such an asset to have. But yeah, it didn't work out this week. So.
Yeah. That's the thing is like you look at these numbers, the 21 out of the corner, and you're thinking that's a huge advantage.
Yeah.
And like you said, the offense just didn't show up. I mean, every team has that throughout the season, at least once or twice, where you have guys like Kamara 3.9, Tyreek Hill 8.7, like just not getting touchdowns, not getting enough yards to make up for it. And Pat Mahomes finally showing maybe that he's human. Two picks, 15-point game.
Yeah, Jaguars D came to play, but he's still the number 1 fantasy quarterback with that. So
yeah. So obviously we're talking about Dan here. 3-game losing streak for Dan after back-to-back week highs to open the season. So it's one of those things where Dan's not playing bad. He had almost 170 in a loss last week. 146 this week was a 3-wib, so definitely not great there, but still not a terrible point total. And yeah, just 3 losses. Definitely, like I think that Dan this could be that team this year that has to fight a little bit more than what it is. Like this could be like a Parker from last season, where just things are not going their way, and all of a sudden, it's like you have to win this game in week 13 or you're done. And last season Parker lost that game, so I mean, but I could just as easily see like 5 straight wins right now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing with the team.
I'm not worried at all. Like Dan is like, okay, it's fine. Like obviously you want to be somewhere like 2 and 3 is not where you want to be, but
right.
I don't think he's worried at all, and I'm not worried at all either. So
yeah, I told him this last weekend. I was like, your team is like it's title ready. Like this is a title ready roster. I don't know if there's really any alterations at this point that can help significantly without kind of blowing up what's already in place.
Yeah.
So yeah, just kind of weathering this storm and getting out of it for Dan. He's still the highest scoring team in the league, 177.6.
He really is. The highest scoring team, and you're 2 and 3. That's that's tough.
Yeah, you don't love to see it.
No.
So flip side of this, obviously here, the big story is Carter takes down Dan to open up Big 5 play after the loss last week to Dave, in which you kind of said, like, is this going to be 2016 all over again? You had the hot start 3-0 and then gets knocked off by Dave. And like, granted that it wasn't a huge statement in terms of like a point total or but he beat Dan. That's one of 2 Dan games out of his season that is a W, and that's a big deal. What else is a big deal is that this is the first time, or I should say this is the earliest that this franchise, regardless of its owner, has had a 4th win by this point of the season.
Nice.
And what's the craziest part about that is the previous quickest to get to that point for him was week 8. I want to say week 8.
Wow.
So regardless of where this season goes from here, he's already having one of this team's best seasons that it has ever had. And I think we've talked about this every single year pretty much, with kind of a culture change that Carter brought to this franchise that had been traditionally pretty much garbage, if we're being honest. Run by a garbage owner, may I add, but
hey,
so
Demaryius Thomas revenge tour.
Yeah,
revenge tour.
I love it.
He hasn't done a thing in so long. Gets traded for a stale bagel and puts up 16.5 on his previous owner. You love to see it, you know. That's
if nothing kind of else. That's going to be the highlight of this team's season. I think.
Like, just trading for Demaryius Thomas the week before and having him go off and pretty much like swing the game in your favor. Like, that's incredible. What a story.
And I mean, let's be honest. Carter got a lot of flack for that trade. I mean, we kind of gave him a little bit on the podcast last week, and I mean, obviously, Demaryius Thomas probably isn't going to be that wide receiver 1 or even wide receiver 2 anymore. But like, if he's going to have these games like spread out throughout the season, and for a team that kind of has this like fluctuating receiver core, it could end up being a pretty decent advantage to have Demaryius Thomas in the 3rd spot.
Like, he's still like getting catches, like
right.
And the target share, I know Carter was talking to me about that, like how he's getting tons of targets. It's just like Case Keenum isn't very good.
Right.
So, and Case Keenum can't throw it downfield. So that's the reason, like, he hasn't been getting big yards or anything. But if they can figure it out there in Denver, I could see Demaryius getting back to form. Like, even Emmanuel Sanders sort of having a little comeback season after being sort of irrelevant for a while. But yeah, he's like invested in this. Like, Philip Lindsay too has been a nice surprise. Just as a weapon out of that backfield, which is really helping him out. And he's going to have to really step up with Jay Ajayi now, torn ACL out for the season. So it'll be interesting to see where this team goes from here. Like, he's going to be losing production with, like, once Fournette comes, Yeldon won't be in the lineup. And then now that Devonta Freeman's back, Tevin Coleman's kind of relegated to the bench. So it's going to be weird how the lineup – it's interesting to see how he sets up his lineup in the coming weeks. But he's definitely proven that he deserves to be 4-1. He may be working himself right into the playoff conversation with what he's done to start the season.
Oh yeah, I think so for sure. I don't think that there's, regardless of what you thought about a team in the preseason, I think certain times factors that really are kind of out of that like realm of prediction just occur. And if a team has 4 wins in 5 games, they're in the mix. Like this team could honestly just get lucky 3 more times and it's 7-7, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I think he is gonna have a team that can be competitive even in the Big 5. And so, this Ajay injury is obviously going to hurt him, but honestly, like the Chris Thompson trade last season, that was also for a second, and some people kind of question that, you know, where's this team's mentality right now? And now, I mean, that could end up being a huge thing, having that extra depth at running back, and maybe you know, Chris Thompson gets a few starts, Tevin Coleman maybe, you know,
even
gets back in.
Nyheim Hines, he's had a nice little start. He's putting up more points in like PPR and stuff, but he had 15 rushes this past week. So if they start to work him more in there, he could be a nice little player for him as well. He's got all these running backs. They're just like sort of like you don't think about, like they're not the 3-down back guys, but they can all produce. Like he really has all of these guys, like Chris Thompson, Tevin Coleman, Matt Breida, Nyheim Hines, Javorius Allen. It's like he has all of them. And it's like they're assets that you can flex, and some of them even start as a running back. So, yeah, he's got some fun little depth on here, and we still haven't really seen much from Ronald Jones.
I honestly didn't even know he had Buck Allen. That's kind of that might be a nice piece for the lineup too. It's at some points in the season here, but I think that this team, it's, you know, it's not going to light up the scoreboard every week, but I think it's the kind of team that can put up 160, and you know, as if he's whipping at like a 6 or 5 every week, like he's going to give himself a chance to win. It's
not the flashiest lineup or anything, but it just continues to produce. So I mean, it's worked out so far. We'll see how it works out going forward.
Yeah. And just for reference, currently playing at the level of a 6-win team and has 4 wins. So,
okay.
It's like I said, it hasn't been great.
Is it going to be a me kind of a season maybe for him?
Could be. I mean, honestly, it's better than your team last year that won 9 games. So, we'll see. All right. Moving over to the Pac-5 then. We had a nice little game between you and Tim.
Was it nice?
Well, for one team, it was nice. So, mentioned before, Dan, still the highest scoring team in Web at 2-3. The second highest scoring team in Web is also 2-3.
Wow.
That would be Tim.
That is brutal.
I'm telling you, this is going to be 2014 repeated. I can already feel it. This is going to be like, we're going to have 8-6, 8-6, 7-7, 7-7, 8-6. Like, it's just going to be who can get that extra win that ends up mattering the most. Like I really feel like that's where this season is headed. But so Tim finally at 1-3 has a statement game, a week high, 187.7. That is Tim's 4th week high in franchise history. So big deal for Tim. To come out, see Odell Beckham, 23.1 points, finally scores a touchdown, throws a touchdown.
Yeah.
Just weird things happening for the Insolent Pens. But Russell Wilson, 19 points, finally got production out of the quarterback spot. Yeah. No, I think
defense looked pretty good. Van Der Esch, 14 tackles. So,
yep.
I don't know what is his defensive ranks. He's lower, isn't he?
He was after last week, after week 4, he was, I believe, second. Yeah, he was 9th.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So nice to see some production from his defense. Finally, it looked like a decent week. But yeah, Melvin Gordon doing Melvin Gordon things. Zeke didn't even have that big of a week, but it didn't matter. So yeah, you finally got Odell going, which is good. And even Robert Woods has produced pretty well. Top 10 receiver in the league. So yeah, finally got that big week he's been looking for, and he really needed the win this week. So
yeah, I mean, and like this, obviously Tim's season has been incredibly unfortunate. He's playing at the level of a 10-win team. Currently, what the metrics would tell you is the best team in Web.
Wow.
And obviously just was not getting the results. Losing 170.4 last week. Just those kinds of things just really are what's that type of stuff can happen, and it can just completely derail a season.
Yeah.
But
and this running back core, Zeke, Melvin Gordon, Carlos Hyde having a resurgent season. Devonta Freeman will be coming back, and Mark Ingram had a big week. Like, he's got 5 guys that anyone would love to have just as a starting running back, and he's gonna have to bench 2 of them a week. Like, yeah. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and like the Mark Ingram, like I really thought that Mark Ingram was just done. Like
I can't believe it.
He had the career season last year, and then but you saw like the Kamara's like taking the torch, and this was going to be Kamara's year, and then Ingram comes back and just instantly 19-pointer, 2 touchdowns. Like he's definitely he's almost injury proof. If one of these guys goes down, he can almost slot in. Nobody can replace a Zeke, but if Mark Ingram's starting for you, you're not really feeling too bad.
No. So, honestly, I could definitely see him moving one of those for a wide receiver, because the receiver depth isn't as good, even with Ty hurt right now. But that's definitely something to look for in the future. If someone's looking for a running back wide receiver swap, I could definitely see that.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense for his team, obviously. But I mean, even, like, just a trade like the Robert Woods trade, which was kind of just, it seems so out of place. Like why, like what does this team need with Robert Woods, who was like good but not that great, and then all of a sudden you see a guy like that just kind of exploding, becoming
Jared Goff,
yeah, like
making him relevant.
So, I would say that of all of these, it's like the documents, like Tim's struggles have been well documented. Like I think that this is the best team probably overall that he's had over this last 4 years that he's been good again. And I think like this is the year where there's so much happening in the middle, like everybody's 2-3 or 3-2 pretty much. Mm-hmm. And I think like even at 2-3 right now, like he's feeling pretty good because he's finally seeing this team kind of like come into life and being what is a team that could win him a title. He's the best team, like WIB wise, second in points and these things. Like he's ready. So interesting to see if the curse is broken this season. Your team.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. So obviously last season was a Cinderella story of a generation. This was something that Webb has never seen. And it's just I don't know, man.
I don't know what's wrong.
I don't know what's wrong either.
It's God, it starts with the inconsistencies from Isaiah Crowell and Amari Cooper, which if you saw what I tweeted out, they alternate having big weeks and then scoring 1 point. So like Crowell on odd weeks, he's scored 22, 17, and 29, and on even weeks he scored 3 and 0. And then Amari Cooper on odd weeks has scored 1, 1, and 1. And on even weeks, he's scored 11 and 18. So, according to that algorithm, I should be benching Isaiah Crowell this week. But can you bench a guy after he rushes for 219 yards?
No.
Like, where does that come from? I don't understand.
The Jets' offense this week was just like really decided to let it go.
Even Powell had 100 yards rushing. Like, I don't know what the Denver defense was doing run defense wise, but it's unbelievable. But Amari Cooper only getting 1 target just blows my mind. That what is the issue there that they won't throw to him 1 week, but they'll give him all the targets the next? It's truly baffling. Michael Thomas didn't score a touchdown, so it wasn't too great. Marvin Jones had 1 catch for a touchdown, so I guess there's that. I don't know. Joe Mixon is good, so that's good. Carrion got hurt in the 3rd, so he still looks pretty good. I'm not sure.
Like, I mean, and that's the thing. And like you're rattling off all these names, and like none of these guys are like bad players,
Exactly. It's like I look at my lineup like at the start of the year, I'm like, you know what? I could have a nice year, but it's been the story of my team. Just like I get these players that I like and that people are like, wow, they're talented. And then they never do anything. I don't know what I do. And then I trade guys away like Mark Ingram and he becomes good. I trade away Eric Ebron. He's a fucking tight end too. Like I can never make a right move when it comes to this kind of stuff. I don't know if this team's cursed, honestly. I really don't know.
Caleb is on the couch on the Week 5 podcast here. This is some therapy, well needed.
Yeah, actually, it's unbelievable. Like, my team, it just always underperforms, and my players never do good enough. And it doesn't matter what I do to make changes; it's just never good enough. Like, I benched Isaiah Crowell this week for Royce Freeman. He fucking scores 30, and then I'm gonna put him in the lineup this week. He's not gonna do a thing. It's just. Very, very frustrating with this team.
That's the thing is like it's just the inconsistency. Like this, you have the kind of team that just doesn't seem to want to do it all in the same week.
No.
So that's obvious. That's like honestly probably the most frustrating feeling in fantasy is just like knowing that you have the right guys, but just not having them in when you need them in. And
Yep.
we see other teams dealing with this on a much smaller scale, but this is almost like a full offense, like just
Yeah. I have no clue what I'm getting week in, week out. And the defense, I know I'm getting below average at least every week. So that's great too. The defensive line curse is alive and well. Ogunjobi somehow had 0 points. He didn't get hurt. He just didn't do anything. And Jarrell Casey had 5. So I don't know. It seems like I can't make a right move right now. And now I'm sitting at 1-4, just contemplating life, trying to figure out what I'm gonna do.
It's honestly maybe like even it might just kind of be like a Kelvin season from last year, where like you have the guys, but they're just not doing the things. And like,
yeah,
I mean, you have 145 points per game, which is last in the league, but like compare that to like last year's scoring, obviously it's completely different.
Yeah, it's tough to.
But like on like the year prior to that, I mean, the worst teams were in the 130s. So it's just it might just be one of those years. But definitely, a 4-game losing streak isn't the end. Could see a turnaround. Maybe just pick up a few wins and get some momentum back here as you move into the Pac-5. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yep.
It's gonna take another inspired effort to have lightning strike again.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's but it was nice to get that all out.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're here for you for that. Everybody's got to do it. Okay, so other Pac-5 game, which low key might have been their biggest showdown against each other in a while. Dave and Josh essentially playing for a share of the Pac-5 lead after knowing that Brock won his game, which we'll talk about next. So we talked about it on the show last week that the eye test said Dave, 100% said Dave, but the numbers said Josh.
Yep.
And I mean, I don't know how Josh is doing it. I don't know how he's doing it because I mean, I think we were very correct in saying that on paper the better team here is Dave.
Yeah.
But
God, and he started the week off like while we were at the rehearsal for the thing, and we were talking about how like the Darius Leonard, like that's like it was like his whole team, and he wasn't playing, and that was a whole thing. But like, and he still, even with that, comes out and scores 150. I'm just seeing the point totals from this defense at the top here: 10, 10, 17, 10, 15. Like, I'm guessing Eric Murray got injured or something, which is why he scored 0. Like, without those zeros, this would have been like add Darius Leonard's whatever he's averaging, like 15 points. That's a 165. Like, he could have like a big week if they would have stayed like healthy, and that would have happened.
2 zeros.
Yeah.
2 zeros on a team, and you go 150 points. Like,
it's impressive.
I think it's almost to the point where it's just like this season feels like a shit show. Like, it feels like the quote unquote good teams don't have that clear advantage.
No, that's with like I've been saying, like with the average point total going up, like it's really leveling it out to the point where you don't know what's going to happen on a week to week basis, because pretty much everyone has a chance. Like, obviously everyone has a chance to win every given week, but like last year it was like you had those matchups. It's like, well, we know who's going to win. This year you don't know. Like, you say Carter Dam last year, it's like, okay, Dam. This year it's like, well, shit, that didn't even happen. Like, it's such a toss up each week, which is why the higher scoring is just making this so much more fun. The parity in the league is just at an all-time high.
Yeah, I really believe that like this, even this kind of a roster in which you don't really see the star power.
Yeah, Doesn't
is
matter.
going to have a chance because his defense has been on a level. His defense has been a huge reason for the way that his overall team is performing. And also just like guys like Kenny Galladay who
he's emerging.
are definitely emerging, like that was a name that I know kind of like it was a up and coming name, but he wasn't supposed to be like a star, like he was supposed to be good. And Josh makes that trade. And obviously it like moving from a team like Dan's in which the wide receiver depth is pretty significant made sense. All of a sudden, this is a premier piece of Josh's lineup.
Yeah.
And, like 15.8 this week. That's just, that's the kind of production that like teams are seeing out of guys like Julio Jones, Antonio Brown. Like that's the kind of number that you want to hit. And Josh is finding it from guys that aren't necessarily at that level. So maybe it's been a perfect storm through 5 weeks. Maybe it's been a little bit of, we're going to see this slow down a little bit, but at 3-2, Josh is feeling good. This is the best start he's had in a while. This is the first time that this team has hit 3 wins this early in the season for a while. I mean, it took him till week 10 in 2015. It took him till week 13 in last season. He didn't even hit it in 2016. He had 2 wins. So this has been a great start for Josh, and I think if this defense can keep playing and Darius Leonard obviously continues doing what he's doing, this could be a scary little team down the stretch here. Maybe he's one that's making some noise around week 10.
Yeah, for sure.
But other side of that, Dave, kind of a similar team, honestly. I feel like it is a team that's got a lot of like good players that are putting up better than good numbers. But this week was not the week for Dave. This was a week low, 125.3 for Dave. So second lowest scoring team in Webb right now. I mean, the disparity between Dave and Josh is 10 points per game. So Josh is clearly playing better than Dave right now. But yeah, I mean, what do you think? I mean, Adam Thielen is still Adam Thielen is unbelievable.
Best receiver in the league. That's 5 straight weeks with 100 yards or more. That is insane.
First time ever.
Yeah, like unbelievable. So he's got to love that there. The tandem of McCaffrey and now Sony is looking good. That's going to be a real nice thing moving forward, whether or not he's in the playoff conversation or not, just moving forward. Like I'm seeing a lot of there's a ton of points on the bench this week. 13 from Eckler. Sutton had 8.8. Christian Kirk had a big catch. He 3 for 85 and a touchdown. Traquan Smith caught Drew Brees' record pass. He had 3 for 111 and 2 touchdowns. James White is a top 10 running back. There's just points everywhere. It's unbelievable. Honestly, I don't know if he still wouldn't have won if he had the perfect lineup probably, but it's just nice to see a lot of these other guys producing on the bench, even if it didn't work out for him. But yeah, I don't know.
If you're doing the perfect lineup test, Dave smokes him.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Like, because you have Tyler Boyd and John Brown putting up barely 10 points with the 2 of them. And you have the arrival of Traquan Smith.
Yeah.
23-pointer. You have Christian Kirk showing up, 85 and a touchdown. Like, these are young guys. Mm-hmm. Both of those names came from last year's draft. You got those 2. You got Sutton had a touchdown, like you said. You have like even the running back depth with Eckler and like
White,
James White. Like this. This is like that collection of players that this is kind of like your team, but like less sexy in terms of name value.
Yeah, but they're actually doing it.
Right. Yeah. Like it's just like, who do you start? Like who does he start? Now, Tyler Boyd has 40 yards. Okay, let's bench him for Traquan Smith. He shows up.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden, Traquan Smith has 1 catch for 12 yards, and Tyler Boyd has 8 for 120 and a touchdown. Like,
yeah. Even TJ Watt is sort of like, he scored 22 this week. He'll have a big week and then he'll disappear for a few games. Then he'll have another big week. So, I mean, if you could predict which game he goes off in, that'd be huge. But like, wow, like even with those 2 games, apparently he's the number 4 scoring linebacker.
Yep.
24 points, 2 points, 4 points, 4 points, 22 points. Like,
I mean,
that's enough for a linebacker 4.
6 sacks through 5 weeks is
that is true.
But it's like all in 2 weeks.
Like, so that's that could be a little frustrating for him. But yeah, it's obviously not a week low is not what you want, but there's just a ton of stuff to like here on this team just moving forward.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like this is the kind of, he's done it right. He's done it the right way. He's building his team through the draft and through some different moves. He's got a really nice young core. And I think that you're going to see those guys start to kind of rise. Like the ones that should be in the lineup every week, I think that's going to come out. Like obviously this Michelle and McCaffrey combination is like a locked in 1-2 now. Like Michelle was kind of the question mark. Like he had the good week last week, and now with another good game under his belt here, that's pretty locked and loaded. And maybe these receivers, you start to see the same thing. Like is Traquan Smith was this a like anomaly, or is this gonna be a big piece of that offense? So I think he'll find it. Also Christian Kirk, like this is Josh Rosen is the one. So
yeah, he's just on a side note, like the things Josh Rosen is doing when he's like, God, I saw it today. I think he's being pressured on like 42% of his dropbacks, which is like it's number 1 by a lot, and he's still like going out there and like Rose. I love Rosen. Like even with nothing really going for him around him, people hating on him and stuff, like he just goes out there and does this thing on a pretty shitty team. He's a baller.
Speaking of quarterbacks, it's another problem Dave has. He's got 2 good ones, doesn't know who to start. Off 13 points, and then Drew Brees back up to 26.
Yeah.
So but yeah, no, I like what Dave's got going on. The week low, I think, is just kind of a unfortunate situation, but the defense is still bad. I mean, it's going to take some significant like retooling to finally get this thing on the right track, because it's been years. And he did invest some picks into it this year. Still kind of waiting on Sean Evans to get more involved for the Titans, but we'll see where that goes moving forward. But all right, so non-conference game of the week, Kelvin and Rage. So I kind of made that comment last week that I instantly kind of regretted, and you pointed out was probably wrong, that this was a game that Frazier should definitely win. And I think we talked a lot about Kelvin's team last week, which was good because it deserves a lot of recognition right now. And he came out and proved it. He showed it. He lost, but he came out. They battled. It was a 8 versus 7 WIB. And Frazier, picks up this victory. It's just 6 points was all it took. But like Kelvin is definitely, he's going to be around this season. This is going to be a team that even at, he's 1-4, he's going to make some noise. And I think maybe not in terms of, is he going to fight for a playoff spot anymore? Because that would take a very inspired effort. But he's going to be that team that me and Parker and Carter and Dan, I mean, I just literally listed the entire Big Five. Yeah. It's a complete cluster, but we're going to all be battling, and Kelvin's going to be a team that can beat any team.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
I think he would have won this week if Cooper Kupp and Brandon Cooks didn't both get concussions. Like Brandon Cooks even has like his worst game of the season with like 8 points. He wins. Cooper Kupp had 15 before he got hurt. Like that was honestly the difference in the end if they would have stayed healthy. But didn't really get much out of Calvin Ridley, which kind of stunk too. But Saquon, God, James Conner, really good till Lev gets back, or that's still to be determined if he gets traded or not. So that could hurt. But yeah, it definitely was a good week for him. He just came up a little short. Didn't realize he was starting Blake Bortles, which is kind of wild. I don't know when the last time that happened was. He threw 4 interceptions, but still scored 20 points. 4 interceptions and a fumble, scored 20 points.
Okay, that's actually unbelievable.
I can't believe that. I knew he threw 2 pick sixes. I didn't realize he threw 2 more picks, but he still put up 20.
Why did he start Bortles? What happened to your mic? Get back here.
Sorry. Excited. Is it back?
It's back.
Okay, I was just very confused, like when he got Bortles. When did he, is this?
Like I thought Wentz was like maybe kind of playing not great, coming back and getting back, but like last week was a 19-point week for him. So
I have no clue. Oh, it's the Chiefs' defense, though. The Chiefs' defense is like the worst defense in the league, but he still threw 4 picks.
Even with the franchise quarterback still trying to fly with the matchup game. But
I didn't realize he was on his roster. He's been on his roster since September 7th. That's crazy.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Kelvin is maybe the dark horse here, and it's a little bit unfortunate that he's 1-4 because it's. I mean, you can talk to Dan about when you're in or when you're out of season because 1-6 isn't enough, but that was also a different story. But Frazier got the win. Obviously, this team is it's had some struggles. It's been a little bit up and down here to start
bumpy
the season that would give him a chance to three-peat. But Josh Gordon in the lineup this week almost does nothing, catches a bomb for a touchdown. The Patriots offense in general was kind of on this week, so that obviously is most of the reason that we see a 178 here with the Brady and Gronk connection. And even Gronk only had 75 yards, but Todd Gurley still the face of fantasy sports, I would say. 30-pointer this week.
Insane.
But yeah, no, Brock's offense it's been a different season. He's been leaning a little bit more on the defense. But the offense woke back up this week, and the defense really wasn't there. So he needed it to be, and so he got it.
Dan Bailey, the kicker curse has been broken. Can we officially?
It's officially dead. It's over.
12 last week, 11 this week. Except he did miss 2 field goals, so maybe yeah, he still scored 11. So maybe hold off on the celebration.
Okay.
For David
Wilson.
So
it's not dead yet.
Not that it's still lingering. There's still remnants, but
they're lowering it into the ground. But could pop out of this casket at any second.
Oh God!
Nice spooky imagery here.
You know it's gonna. Yeah, it's gonna happen at some point. There's gonna be a week where it just falls apart again. But for now, he can enjoy this little stretch. Bailey's
we'll let him think it's over.
That's just gonna be in his head every week. Like, oh, it's Dan Bailey. Is it?
So, yeah, 3-2 for Frazier, and I think that's significant enough because Dan, who kind of went into the season as the favorite, despite the back-to-back belts that Frazier has, sitting at 2-3, and also the Pac-5 rival and the team that's currently playing at a very high level in Tim is also 2-3. So regardless of these struggles that Frazier faced in weeks 2 and 3, the rest of the weeks have been great.
Yep.
So he's been able to win all of those games that he's put up those kind of numbers. So 158.2 right now is fifth in the league, but I think that number is just going to continue to climb as we move forward here. So all right, that was week 5. Always a fun week getting ourselves oriented in the conferences, and let's check out week 6. I think you said we got some good ones, and I think you're right.
With all the teams, with a lot of teams being good, that sets up for a lot of good games for us folks.
Yeah. So let's start. Big 5. Big 5, big game again here. Mingo and Carter. So all of a sudden, this matchup has some pretty significant consequences attached to it, because if I lose, go to 3-3, Carter's 5-1. If you're 5-1, I would have to go back and look at first of all how many teams have done that, because it's not that many. And I guarantee that every single one that has, I know Parker's probably done it a couple times at least, went on to win the conference. So I mean, this is big. Like he knocks off Dan, who's kind of like that face of the league, or the face, at least the Big 5. Knocks him off. He's got a chance to do it right back again here with last year's conference champ in my team coming off of a downer. What do you think?
I don't know. I think I'll give you an edge in offense and in defense, which will be enough to get the win here. Like, it's at this point, you're pretty much, it's 50-50, honestly, with all these games. Like, you just don't know. Just looking at it, I'd probably go with you, but like, honestly, yeah, no one would be surprised if Carter won. Like, these games are toss-ups at this point, and it'll be interesting because it's a pretty big game. Carter can be for real if he wins, and for you, don't want to be like 500 will be okay, but with a lot of teams gunning for it, you want to get these wins as soon as you can. So I'm gonna pick you.
Yeah, and it's kind of that, like, I'm 3-2 right now, and with all of the teams that are sitting right within that one game margin of 2-3 and 3-2, it's like you want to be that team that keeps the pace. Like, for me to slip to 3-3 maybe wouldn't be the biggest deal.
No,
but when teams like Brock are 3-2 and Parker's already 4-1 here, like, you want to try to win games while it's kind of still taking shape and not playing comeback later in the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Dalvin Cook is back. Does not have even a questionable, so he's ready to go this week. That's going to help my offense a lot. The receivers, like Corey Davis, came right back down to Corey Davis land of 40 yards receiving, just kind of his literal brand. He's probably going to make another appearance in the starting lineup this week. I don't know, man. Like, it's close, and normally when it's close, I go with myself, like most people do. But I don't know. I just kind of have a feeling that Carter is gonna do it this week.
Are you actually going to?
I think I'm gonna pick Carter.
Wow. How often does that happen on the podcast?
Not often, that's for sure.
You're trying to reverse jinx yourself?
I maybe a little bit, but like,
I mean,
I don't know. I just want to, I want to be objective. I want to call it how it is, and I think this is just super close. And even though, maybe it looks like I got a little bit, more firepower on the offensive side of things, I really like what Carter's got going on right now.
Yeah.
4-1. I think 5-1. If he's 5-1, we're gonna come here next week and we we're gonna have some serious discussions about what 5-1 means, and kind of maybe even looking ahead to this team's next few games to see
God,
what the pathway to 8 wins looks like, because
Yeah.
that's kind of the mark.
the
But
dick sucking will really. I'm sure Frazier's kind of sad he's missing out on the dick sucking this week. I'm not one of the big dick suckers for Carter, but
it escalates so much that I pick him against me.
yeah,
in the
it's already full circle here. But yeah, that'll be a good one for sure.
Yeah. All right. Second game then in the Big Five this week is going to be Kelvin and Parker. So this is kind of that game that we've been talking about for Kelvin. This is like that, you got the leader, the 4-1 powerhouse Parker coming in here against 1-4 Kelvin, and yet you can kind of see Kelvin winning this game.
I mean, yeah.
So
the projections are already in his favor, and that's with a 0 in there from Clayton Gathers or whatever. So, yeah, change that, Kelvin. Just a quick thing, but yeah, God, I don't know. Tariq Cohen is in the lineup for Parker this week. Cameron Brate is in the lineup. Those are those two spots that have just sort of been weird, but God, I don't know. You go first. I have to look at this closer.
Well, okay, Parker's team goes where his wide receivers go. That's kind of what it is, and I think that Kelvin has the same kind of wide receiver core where if it has a big week, he's going to have a pretty good chance to win, because there's just so much firepower there.
Yeah.
And I think it's just going to come down to which wide receiver group decides to have the better week. And I'm looking at the Rams playing Denver, and it's looking like Hopkins against Buffalo, Devontae Packers against San Fran on Monday night.
Yeah. Mike Evans against the Falcons secondary, which has been. I'm gonna pick Parker. God, he's got some nice matchups there from the offensive set from those receivers, plus David Johnson and Super Cam and the defense. I'm picking Parker. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I let you go first, and then I jumped in and I made my decision. I had to do
your way right to that easy decision.
Yeah, I just needed you to talk about it a little bit.
I'm gonna go with Kelvin.
Oh, okay. Man, we are splitting decisions here.
I think like this is the kind of game that's like me and Dan and Parker specifically down the stretch here are not going to want to see, and Carter too. I mean, I like to say that big three, like that big group in the Big Five, but Carter's, he's a part of that right now. So any team that's really fighting down the stretch here, looking at games with Kelvin, even though could potentially just be like 2-6 or whatever, and this could be the beginning of that. I think this is going to be James Conner's games are limited now potentially, and so I think as long as he's got this Connor Barkley thing rolling, he might have it. He could have a pretty good chance. I'm going to go with Kelvin. Moving to the Pac-5 then.
Big game.
We get
big game.
So Frage doesn't start his Pac-5 schedule last week. Gets Kelvin. Jumps in Pac-5 game first of the season with Tim.
Dang.
Oh man, the fireworks are gonna fly. Nice, thank you.
Yeah.
So Frazier 3-2, Tim 2-3. Tim the better team according to the numbers right now. I mean, this is a big game specifically for Tim, I would say, to get back to 500, knocking off the defending 4-time conference champ. And I think he's probably going to do it. I think he's going to do it.
God, this is another one. I don't know. All of these games are very close. So you're on board with Tim?
Yeah, I'm gonna lock in with Tim. I think I mean
final answer.
Yeah.
All right.
Odell's back. Russell Wilson apparently can still throw touchdowns
Yeah,
sometimes.
we're gonna know a lot about Tim's team tonight, Eagles Giants. So he's gonna have two of his receivers
Oh
already
boy.
thrown right into it. So that's gonna be an early indication. I am going to go with Frazier. We've got Julio against the Bucks, Josh Gordon against the Chiefs, and Gronk against the Chiefs, and Tom Brady against the Chiefs. That's going to be a wild game. I think it's Sunday night, Brady versus Mahomes. So must watch TV, and I think those guys are going to ball out and get Frazier the win. So I think it's Sunday night. I'm assuming it is.
This has got to be the most like split like picks that we've
Yeah.
ever had. Like I think that's just like tells you where the league's at right now.
Yeah.
You got me picking Kelvin over Parker and me picking Carter over myself, like games that are just like lock and loads normally. Like okay.
Where are we off to next?
We are going to your game, Caleb and Josh. So low key, Caleb. This is a big game. This is a game against the team averaging 158 points. That's looking to go 4-2 and keep the pace in the Pac-5. So, are you going to be able to rebound from this little stretch that you're having here?
Boy, it is tough. No Michael Thomas this week, and of course Marvin Jones has a bye this week too, which means Taywan Taylor. Fuck me, right? Or Dante Moncrief. We're gonna find out. Maybe there'll be a move, but I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of check marks on the offensive side for me, so that makes me feel good. But there's also a lot on the defensive sides for Josh, as you'd expect.
I feel like Josh has probably had all of the offensive check marks go against him every single week, and he's probably outscored like half of those teams on offense.
Exactly. Dang, I'll let you go first again.
All right. I mean, I'm just gonna say that I feel like, just in terms of, the stats obviously reflect this. So it makes it feel like it wouldn't be an upset. But I still believe that like this would be a big win for Josh. This maybe not an upset, but it's the kind of game that like if Josh wants to actually hang around here and be this kind of team this season, this is the kind of game he's got to win. Because he's not playing Frazier and he's not playing Tim, and so these games against you and Dave are going to be huge for him.
Mm-hmm.
And the team is looking good right now. I mean, Mike Davis looking like he's going to be in the starting lineup again, riding that production for all that it's worth, probably. But like you, he's getting hit a little bit with the wide receiver core. Golden Tate and Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, he loses both of those. So
that's
slots in. Taylor Gabriel slots in.
Yeah, like that's
makes me feel a little better.
That's pretty significant. Obviously, those are two of like the biggest pieces of his offense. Yeah. Interested to see if he continues with those two guys, with Gabriel and Williams. Also has like the options of Paul Richardson and Keelan Cole on the bench. He both of them started for him last week. So maybe he decides to go with one of them instead. But either way, I feel like it's probably pretty much a toss up. But yeah, like the defense is going to be a huge factor in this game, and honestly, I believe that that's probably going to be what eventually brings him to a victory this week. I'm going to go with Josh.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, the defensive check marks are pretty there. God, Melvin Ingram, another one of those guys that's gained defensive line eligibility. I remember when he was on my team as a linebacker.
And Dan's team.
Yeah. Let's see. I added Ndamukong Suh to the defensive line spot this week, so hoping he can crack the code and do something. Please, God. It's I think we're gonna do it. I think I'm gonna do it this week. I think Amari is gonna come alive. Crowell is gonna have back-to-back good weeks. God, I don't know. I'm gonna do it. We're gonna find our way and get a win this week, and hopefully everything starts stabilizing within the team. We start to find some sort of consistency that I can be happy about moving forward.
Yeah. So for the folks counting at home, that's 4 games, 4 split picks. So can we go 5-5?
I mean, I might just make it 5-5 because I want to, but what's the 5th game?
The 5th game, interconference game of the week. Dan and Dave.
Two and 3 teams.
Yeah, let's boil this down for a second here because Dan's on a 3-game losing streak. So he's looking to stop that dead in its tracks here. And he's got a team coming off of a week low in Dave that would lead most to believe that he could do that this week. But if you take out this week from Dave, you're looking at a team that's been able to kind of keep the pace with Dan the last the 2 weeks prior to this. So maybe we run into another situation here where like a Carter situation in which puts up a 154 and just finds a way to sneak one out. Could very well be possible, but what do you think?
No Alvin Kamara for God, Tim's biggest rival this week. God, tricks me every time. No Alvin Kamara. Jordan Howard slots in. Kind of been they had a bye week last week, but it still hasn't been too great. I am going to pick Dave.
Oh damn!
He's got a nice little trio of guys. Adam Thielen is a machine, a point-scoring machine. Sony has arrived. Christian has looked good. Those 3 are dynamic. Jared Cook. Okay, I didn't mean to say his name, but he's scored points. Julian Edelman is back against the Chiefs. That's big. I think he can do it. The defense is going to make it difficult for him to win this game, but I think his offense could do it for him, and I'm gonna pick him for this week over Dan.
So back-to-back huge upset losses for Dan, if that's the case.
Yeah.
The offense can definitely hang. And that's honestly a little bit shocking when you're talking about a team that has Alvin Kamara and Tyreek Hill and all these guys. But Dave has been able to hang. He actually outscored Dan's offense in week 3. And he was over 100 points on offense in weeks 3 and 4. I don't have the numbers from last week, but the defense is going to be a problem. That's going to be a check mark for Dan most likely. But with no Alvin Kamara, it does make things more interesting than they would be probably with him.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Dan because, I mean, 4 games in a row. We probably said the same thing in 2014, but I just cannot see this team going longer than 3 games without a win. But yeah, I think this has a lot of potential to maybe be like if that happens, if Dave wins this game, Dan's sitting 2-4 on a 4-game losing streak with losses to Carter and Dave. I mean, you're talking about a season that maybe just isn't going to be the one.
Yeah,
like
especially with all these teams that would be overperforming to what we thought. Yeah, it'd be tough.
Yeah, but it's still early. It's early. Yeah. We've seen crazy things happen in the second half of the season. So obviously nothing is decided, but we're seeing it taking a little bit of shape here. The shape resembles a lot of 2014, what we had going on at this point with some teams like the Judy team, in which nobody really expected to have a good season following Cody's train wreck of the 2013. A team that was 4-2 through 6 weeks and ended up going to the title game. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see where we are next week, but I'm excited.
Yeah,
it's a little slate. I got a big game this week. You got a game that you got to win this week.
Every game's a big game for me here on out. So,
yeah. All right, Caleb. Well, you did an excellent job as a co-host. Brock might have to watch his back. I don't know.
Hot seat, Frazier.
Coming for you.
Cool throwing,
right.
Caleb.
Well, we hope that Brock's having an excellent honeymoon in Boston. We missed him. We miss you, Brock.
Miss you.
Hope you have time to listen while you're partying and not seeing Game 5 because I hate the Yankees.
Ooh, yeah. We don't have to talk about that.
Yeah, that's nice. Thank you.
Do you want to talk about?
Shut up. Shut up. All right. Well, let's. Maybe I'll see you on Black Ops, fellow web people. But
and if you don't have Black Ops and you don't have a PS4, go get one right now.
True, Josh.
Yeah,
talking to you, Kelvin.
Yeah,
no,
Kelvin has a PS4. Yeah. So
Josh.
we're just looking at Josh. Wait, Dave.
Josh to Dave. Pack 5 powerhouses.
Maybe that's the curse of the
correlation.
Not having a PS4. How many playoff appearances?
That's a total of 1 between the both of them. Carter, though, that franchise never. That's the other thing about Carter. His team's never made the playoffs. One of 2 teams. Is this the year? I want to see every single team have a playoff game under their belt by the 10-year mark. So
definitely possible. He has a PS4, so he's not cursed.
True. All right, let's make it a great week 6.
Make it a great day, Keel High.